There are moments when life unravels faster than you can breathe. Everything you built begins to tremble. Plans, relationships, the quiet routines that once held you together. It doesn't happen with warning. It comes like thunder from a clear sky. A phone call, a silence that lasts too long, a truth you didn't want to see. And in that instant, the air feels heavy. Your mind runs in circles, searching for something solid to hold. We are taught to survive by moving, to fix, to rush, to speak, to plan. The faster the heart beats, the safer we think we are. But what if safety isn't found in speed? What if calm, the thing we dismiss as weakness, is the rarest strength of all? Picture a city in chaos, people running, lights flickering, sirens echoing between tall buildings. And in the middle of it, one figure stands still, not frozen, not afraid, just aware. The noise rushes around them like a wave that cannot touch what is deeper than sound. That stillness is not apathy, it's mastery. It's the quiet knowledge that storms do not destroy the sky. They only pass through it. We think of calm as something that happens after the apology, after the healing, after control returns. But the truth is quieter and more dangerous. Calm begins inside the storm, when everything is uncertain and the future is smoke. It is the decision to stop running from what hurts, and instead, to witness it. Because what we fight, we feed, and what we watch, dissolves. There's an ancient saying from Lao Tzu, when nothing is done, nothing is left undone. It sounds impossible until you see it. When you stop forcing outcomes, reality starts to move with you instead of against you. Like a river that bends around the stone that refuses to move. Calm doesn't resist, it redirects. It turns chaos into rhythm. So as the noise builds, ask yourself, who are you when everything falls apart? Are you the one shouting into the storm, or the one listening beneath it? Because calm isn't born from comfort. It's forged in collapse. The people who seem unshaken aren't special. They've just learned to stop fighting the wind. They've realized that control is a myth, and that peace begins the moment you stop demanding certainty. The first lesson of calm is not how to stay peaceful. It's learning to see that peace was never gone. It was only buried beneath reaction. When you stop trying to control the storm, you begin to feel the air again, raw, alive, untouched. That's where true power hides, not in holding on, but in standing still. Most of us were raised on the illusion that control is safety. From the time we're children, we're taught to manage, predict, plan, to build fences around the unknown. We map our futures, schedule our emotions, and treat uncertainty like an enemy. But the truth is, control is the most fragile comfort we own. It crumbles the moment life decides to move differently. Think of how easily peace breaks. One wrong word, one delayed text, one plan that falls through, and suddenly your mind is loud again. It doesn't take much, because the peace we think we have is built on things going our way. And when they don't, we feel betrayed. But life was never supposed to follow our design. It has its own rhythm. Vast, unpredictable, alive. Lao Tzu wrote, "Those who flow as life flows know they need no other force." He wasn't speaking in riddles. He was describing a psychological truth. The more we try to grip the world, the more our hands ache. The more we resist change, the more we suffer. Control feels like power, but it's actually tension. And tension is the opposite of calm. Picture your mind as a hand clenched into a fist. At first it feels strong, like focus, like will, but keep it closed long enough and it starts to shake. That's what most of us call stress. We're holding on to people, to plans, to identities that no longer fit. And we wonder why peace feels so far away. Krishnamurti once said, "Freedom and love go together." Love is not a reaction. If I love you because you love me, that's merely trade. In that single line lies the death of control. Because control is reaction. It's the need to shape outcomes so that we can feel safe. But calm doesn't react, it receives. It sees what is, without needing it to be otherwise. That's the quiet rebellion of peace. It doesn't need the world to obey. The myth of control is seductive because it gives us a false sense of identity. We say, "I am the one who makes things happen," and as long as life agrees, we feel powerful. But when the tide turns, when loss visits, when the job ends, when the person leaves, we meet our dependence on the illusion. We realize we never held anything. We only chased the feeling of holding. There's a story told in Zen circles about a monk who carried a small bowl everywhere he went. One day, a gust of wind shattered it. He didn't mourn. He simply bowed and walked away. When asked why he didn't react, he said, "Because the wind owns nothing, and neither do I." That is the difference between knowing calm and pretending to have it. Pretending calm tries to protect. True calm lets everything pass through. Modern psychology echoes this truth in different words. Cognitive therapy calls it acceptance. Neuroscience calls it deactivation. But at its heart, it's the same practice ancient teachers pointed to, the art of loosening your grip. When you loosen, your body follows. Your breath slows, your mind opens, your awareness expands. You stop seeing life as something to win against. Instead, it becomes something to move with. We've been told that letting go means losing, that surrender is weakness. But letting go is simply seeing what was never yours to begin with. It's the realization that peace doesn't come from bending reality into your design. It comes from dissolving the part of you that needs to. The camera would linger now, maybe on a bird gliding through wind, wings unmoving, body balanced between invisible forces. That's what calm looks like. It isn't still because nothing moves. It's still because it moves with everything. The myth of control is a quiet prison. You decorate it with goals and call it success. You fortify it with fear and call it safety. But walls don't stop storms. They only hide them from view. And one day, when the world shifts, those walls will crack. That's when you'll discover that freedom was never outside of chaos. It was inside your willingness to let chaos flow through you. Control ends the moment awareness begins. Because when you truly see life, unfiltered, unplanned, unscripted, you realize it was never yours to command. You were never the storm. You were always the sky. There comes a point when the idea of calm stops being poetic and starts being tested. It's easy to speak of peace when life is kind, but peace is proven when the ground begins to move, when everything familiar starts to crumble, and the life you thought was solid turns to dust in your hands. That's when calm is no longer a concept. It's a question. Who are you when there's nothing left to hold? You can feel it before it begins, the subtle tightening inside, the body's premonition of loss. Something feels off, but you don't want to see it. Then the event comes. Maybe it's a breakup, a diagnosis, a betrayal, or a failure you didn't see coming. Your mind rushes to fix it, to bargain with reality, to rewrite the story, to wake up in a different version of the day. But there is no bargain to make. What's broken won't return to the way it was, and the self you were yesterday no longer exists. Psychologists call this ego disintegration. Spiritual teachers call it awakening. They are two sides of the same event, the collapse of certainty. The moment when the identity you built cannot protect you anymore. And beneath the noise of thought, a terrifying silence waits. The human mind was built to survive, not to surrender. So it fights, with words, with memories, with movement. It searches for something, anything, to blame or to save. You replay conversations, analyze the past, imagine alternate futures. It feels like doing something, but it's only resistance, a form of panic disguised as logic. Because the truth is unbearable, life does not ask for your permission to change. Krishnamurti once said, "To observe without evaluating is the highest form of intelligence." But how do you observe a fire when it's burning everything you love? How do you watch your own world end without trying to control the ashes? The mind trembles, the heart contracts. You want to scream, to escape, to do anything but feel. Yet calm begins right there, at the point of breaking. Not as denial, but as radical witnessing. Imagine standing in the middle of an earthquake. The instinct is to run, but what if running makes you fall faster? So you lower your center of gravity, find balance, and breathe through the shaking. That's the art of awareness. It doesn't stop the trembling, but it keeps you from collapsing with it. Alan Watts called this the backward law. The more you try to hold on to happiness, the more it slips away. The more you try to avoid pain, the more you feel it. Calm doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you no longer believe every feeling is a command. Emotions move through like weather. They form, pour, and pass. The self is only the sky they move across. In the middle of collapse, there's a subtle invitation, the chance to see what doesn't fall apart. Look closely. Beneath fear, there's awareness watching the fear. Beneath sorrow, there's presence witnessing the ache. That presence doesn't change when you cry, when you rage, when you let go. It remains untouched, the silent witness behind every storm. That's who you are beneath the shaking. We live in a culture obsessed with recovery, with bouncing back, rebuilding, moving on. But sometimes what's needed isn't rebuilding. It's staying broken long enough to see what the pieces reveal. Because calm isn't the return of your old strength. It's the birth of a new kind, one that doesn't depend on the world's permission. The mind will beg for escape. It will tell you stories. This shouldn't be happening. I can't handle this. I've lost everything. But what if you answered softly, let it happen? What if you stopped arguing with life and simply sat with what is? You'd notice something strange. Peace begins to flicker beneath the pain, like light returning to a room after a long night. In therapy, this is called radical acceptance. In Zen, it's called suchness. In neuroscience, it's the brain returning from fight or flight into presence. Different languages, same truth. When you stop resisting, clarity returns. You see that the world isn't against you. It's simply unfolding beyond your control. Every person who's ever found true calm has passed through this doorway, the doorway of collapse. It's where the myth of control finally dies, and a quieter life begins. The kind of calm that doesn't need quiet surroundings or perfect outcomes. It's the calm of one who has met chaos and realized, I am not what trembles. So when the world shakes again, and it will, remember this. You don't need to stop the earthquake. You just need to stop confusing yourself with the ground. The shaking will end, as all things do. What remains will be you, not the version trying to hold the pieces together, but the awareness that was never broken to begin with. Every storm has an eye, a center where the winds go silent. You don't find it by fighting through the chaos. You find it by surrendering to its rhythm. That's the paradox of calm. The more you chase it, the further it runs. It reveals itself only when you stop demanding peace and begin to listen. After the world shakes, there's a strange quiet. You feel emptied, uncertain, maybe even numb. But inside that emptiness lies something extraordinary, the beginning of awareness. For the first time, you notice the space between thoughts. You notice how sensations rise and fade without needing your commentary. You notice that even when emotions roar, there's still something still behind them, watching, unbothered. That watcher isn't cold or detached. It's alive, compassionate, and vast. It's what remains when the self runs out of words. Alan Watts once said, "You are the universe experiencing itself." At first, that sounds poetic, even abstract. But if you sit long enough in stillness, you begin to feel what he meant. You realize that the chaos you fear and the calm you crave are made of the same essence. They're both movements within the same field of awareness. And awareness, by its nature, cannot be disturbed. Look at the sky after a storm. The clouds move slowly, almost with apology, revealing the light they had hidden. The air smells clean, reborn. That's what happens in you when awareness takes the place of control. The noise clears. You don't become indifferent. You become vast enough to hold everything. This is the turning point. The discovery that calm is not an emotion you feel. It's the space that emotions move through. It's not stillness you create. It's stillness you return to. You were born in it. But life's noise made you forget. When Lao Tzu wrote, "Be still like a mountain and flow like a great river," he wasn't describing contradiction. He was describing wholeness. The mountain doesn't resist the wind. It allows it to pass. The river doesn't fight gravity. It flows by yielding to it. To live calmly is to stop dividing yourself between what you want and what is. It's to live as both the mountain and the river, steady yet fluid, grounded yet free. If you close your eyes and breathe deeply, you can feel that rhythm inside your own body. Inhale, the mountain. Exhale, the river. This is how calm breathes, through balance, not control. In the eye of the storm, perception changes. You stop seeing life as a series of problems to solve and start seeing it as movement, a dance without choreography. The philosopher Krishnamurti often spoke of choiceless awareness, a state where the mind observes without preference, without the constant noise of judgment. He said, "When you are attentive, there is no center from which you are attending." That is what it feels like here. Awareness observing itself. No observer, no observed, only presence. The body softens, the breath deepens. The future stops feeling like a threat because you're no longer living ahead of yourself. You are here, fully, in this heartbeat, this sound, this silence. And in that presence, something sacred awakens. You begin to see that calm was never the reward for surviving chaos. It was the truth that waited patiently beneath it. Imagine a feather floating in still air. It doesn't rush to land. It trusts gravity to guide it. That's how awareness moves when you stop forcing life. It finds its own place, in its own time. You realize then that peace is not the absence of change, it's harmony with it. Modern science begins to echo this wisdom. Neuroscientists studying mindfulness find that when the brain observes without resistance, the nervous system resets. The stress response fades, the heartbeat steadies, and clarity returns. Awareness literally rewires the body for balance. It's as if the mind finally remembers its original design. Not chaos, but coherence. In this stillness, forgiveness comes easily. Not because the past was fair, but because it no longer defines you. Calm gives you the distance to see that everything that broke you was also shaping you. That what fell apart was only what could not stay. You start to sense that life isn't happening to you or even for you. It's happening as you. And when you see that, fear begins to lose its voice. This is the eye of the storm, the sacred midpoint between collapse and creation. You are no longer running from pain or clinging to peace. You are simply watching the dance of both, from the center of the sky that never moves. It's quiet here, but not empty. It's full of presence, the kind that doesn't need meaning to be meaningful. You realize that calm isn't learned, it's remembered. It's what you are when everything unnecessary is stripped away. And in that remembering, the storm no longer feels like an enemy. It feels like a teacher, one that came to show you where stillness truly lives. You can't swim against an ocean. You can only learn to float. At some point, every seeker of calm realizes this truth, that serenity is not achieved by mastering the storm, but by surrendering to it. The art of floating begins when resistance ends. It's the shift from "how do I control this?" to "how can I meet this fully without drowning in it?" Floating looks effortless, but it's a profound trust exercise. You must let the water hold you. You must stop kicking, stop grasping, stop tensing every muscle in fear of sinking. The more you fight to stay above the surface, the faster you sink. The moment you let go, the water takes you. That's detachment, not coldness, not apathy, but deep confidence in life's ability to carry you. Krishnamurti once said, "To understand life, you must live it, not control it." And floating is exactly that, living with open hands. The modern world has trained us to do the opposite, to chase, to grip, to strategize every breath. We are told that to let go is weak, that to surrender is to lose. But Lao Tzu called surrender the highest strength because only the soft can flow. The hard breaks, the soft bends and returns. Water wears down mountains not by force, but by patience. When you float, you rediscover softness, not as fragility, but as wisdom. You realize that life's natural intelligence is always greater than your plans. You remember that the wind knows where to carry the leaf, even when the leaf does not. Try this. Lie down, close your eyes, and imagine yourself in an endless sky. There is no ground beneath you, no ceiling above. You're not falling, you're suspended, weightless. That's what floating feels like inside the soul. The absence of pressure, the presence of trust. The art of floating doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clutching. It's the difference between holding and gripping, between loving and possessing, between walking your path and trying to own it. When you detach, you make space for life to breathe again. You allow outcomes to unfold without strangling them with expectation. You stop trying to control how others see you, how the future should look, or how the past should have gone. And in that stillness, clarity surfaces like sunlight beneath the waves. Alan Watts often compared the mind to water. When you stop disturbing it, it becomes clear. This is what floating does. It calms the inner tide long enough for you to see what's really there. Not projections, not fears, just the quiet truth beneath all movement. Most people mistake detachment for disinterest. They think calm people don't feel. But true detachment isn't the absence of emotion. It's freedom within emotion. You can cry without collapsing, love without losing yourself, fail without breaking. You can experience the full color of life without being painted by it. That is real mastery. Think of a bird gliding through open air. It isn't fighting the wind, it's using it. It knows the invisible currents are allies, not obstacles. In the same way, floating turns life's chaos into momentum. Pain becomes understanding. Delay becomes timing. Loss becomes spaciousness. And yet, detachment is not something you do once and master. It's a daily practice, a remembering. Every morning you'll be tempted to tighten again, to grip the day, the plan, the identity you've built. Every evening life will ask, can you let this go too? The answer is never permanent. It's chosen, moment by moment. Floating is a rhythm, not a state. Sometimes you'll drift easily. Other times, you'll sink and thrash. But even that thrashing is part of the lesson, to show you how much effort peace requires when you forget that peace needs no effort. When Lao Tzu said, "He who clings loses," he wasn't condemning attachment as sin. He was describing gravity. Everything that clings becomes heavy. Every heavy thing sinks. So the art of floating is also the art of lightness, of emptying the self of the unnecessary. Not just possessions, but mental clutter, pride, fear, the endless what if. Imagine your thoughts as clouds passing across a vast sky. Some are dark, some bright, some meaningless. If you try to chase or stop them, you lose the sky. But if you let them drift, the sky remains untouched, infinite, calm, whole. That sky is your awareness. The clouds are only weather. The more you float, the more you realize. Calm doesn't mean you've escaped life. It means life can no longer drown you. You don't rise above the world. You sink deeper into it without losing balance. The wind can scream, but it can't move your center. The current can twist, but it can't define your course. In that effortless awareness, compassion grows naturally. You stop seeing others as storms to avoid and start seeing them as oceans, learning to float too. You understand their struggle because it mirrors your own. That's why the calm never feels superior. They feel connected. Stillness doesn't isolate you. It unites you. Floating, then, becomes an act of love for yourself, for existence. A silent agreement between you and the universe. I will not fight your flow. I will trust where you take me. And when you live like that, untensed, unclenched, you begin to notice beauty where you once saw only survival. You see poetry in imperfection, rhythm in uncertainty. Every moment becomes a small surrender to something wiser than thought. That is the art of floating, to stop forcing life to hold your shape and to let yourself be carried, softly, wisely, toward wherever stillness leads, because the truth is simple and always has been. You were never meant to sink. You were meant to remember that the water was on your side all along. The first time you feel true calm, it doesn't arrive like light. It arrives like gravity, soft, heavy, grounding. After years of climbing, running, and grasping for peace, you finally understand that calm was never above you. It was beneath your feet, waiting for you to stop. Transformation is rarely dramatic. It's not the thunderclap of enlightenment you read about in books. It's a quiet recalibration. One morning, the same noise that used to shake you feels distant, almost irrelevant. The same argument, the same loss, the same uncertainty. They still exist, but something in you doesn't flinch anymore. It's not indifference, it's depth, like a mountain that doesn't notice the clouds scraping its peak. This is the moment when calm becomes strength, when stillness turns from retreat into power. The world still spins, but your awareness no longer spins with it. You become a witness rather than a victim of motion. Alan Watts said that, "The meaning of life is just to be alive." At first, that sounds too simple, almost evasive, but once you've floated long enough, once you've let the current teach you how to breathe underwater, you begin to see what he meant. Being alive doesn't need improvement. It needs presence, the weight of wings. That's the paradox of calm. You feel lighter, but you carry more. You become capable of holding complexity without confusion, emotion without collapse. You still feel everything, but the feelings no longer own you. When you embody calm, people around you sense it before you speak. They slow down unconsciously, drawn to the silence you radiate. It's not charisma, it's coherence. Your inner order gently influences outer chaos. You don't impose it, you become it. In psychology, this is called emotional regulation. But that phrase misses the essence. It's not about managing emotion, it's about befriending it. When anger rises, you no longer condemn it, you listen to its shape. When sadness floods in, you let it wash through, not around. You treat every feeling as weather, not identity. You allow each to pass through the vastness of awareness, knowing that none of it defines the sky. You've probably met someone like this, the person who doesn't rush to fill silence, who, listens without waiting to reply, who speaks only after the heart has settled. They don't demand your trust, they evoke it, because in their stillness, you feel safe. That's what calm does. It transmits safety without trying. Krishnamurti once observed that, "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society." Calm, then, becomes rebellion. Not loud, not violent, but revolutionary in its refusal to be disturbed by disturbance. In a world that profits from agitation, stillness is a protest. To remain unshaken while everything screams for your attention is the highest form of freedom. You begin to understand the irony. Calm is not escape from responsibility. It's the foundation of it. You can only act wisely when you're not reacting blindly. A leader who is calm leads with clarity, not control. A parent who is calm teaches without fear. An artist who is calm creates without ego. In every field, calm amplifies excellence because it removes noise from perception. There's a reason ancient warriors trained in meditation before battle, not to suppress fear, but to see it clearly. They knew that fear seen is fear dissolved, because panic is only blindness, the inability to observe. When vision returns, courage follows naturally, and so calm becomes the root of courage. Not because it destroys danger, but because it reveals perspective. When you stop fighting the storm, you see its edges, and realize storms end. No storm, no matter how fierce, has ever lasted forever. But the one who stands through it learns the geometry of endurance. To integrate calm means you stop waiting for peace to arrive after. After success, after healing, after everything makes sense. You start practicing it during failure, during noise, during confusion. You live as though the present moment were enough, because it always was. Lao Tzu wrote, "Do." You have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear. Patience is the hidden twin of calm. Without it, stillness is just temporary pause. With it, stillness becomes clarity. Patience means trusting that clarity will come if you don't keep stirring the water. At this point in the journey, calm becomes embodied, no longer something you practice, but something you are. You breathe slower, think slower, move slower. Not because you're lazy, but because you're tuned to a different tempo. You start to sense that most of life's chaos is man-made tempo, artificial urgency trying to make you forget eternity. But eternity doesn't rush. It expands quietly, like a sky that doesn't notice how many birds pass through it. When calm becomes your baseline, you rediscover the joy of small things, the sound of rain without commentary, the warmth of tea cooling in your hands, the way light rests on a table, indifferent to whether anyone notices. Moments like these stop being background. They become enough. And slowly, the definition of success shifts. You stop chasing the intensity of achievement and start valuing the simplicity of awareness. Not because ambition dies, but because meaning returns. You work, but not from panic. You love, but not from need. You rest, but not from exhaustion, from completion. To live this way doesn't make you superhuman. It makes you human again. Because calm is not a superpower you acquire. It's a memory you restore. It's the remembrance that beneath every reaction, there is a watcher untouched. Beneath every wave, an ocean. Beneath every noise, silence. In the end, the weight of wings is the burden of freedom. Light, but conscious. Freedom without awareness is chaos. Awareness without calm is paralysis. But when awareness and calm unite, movement becomes effortless. You fly not to escape the earth, but to appreciate its view. And perhaps that's the quiet secret all seekers share, that enlightenment was never meant to lift us out of life, but to anchor us more deeply within it, until we see that the ground beneath our feet and the sky above our head were never separate. That's the final paradox of calm. It grounds you so deeply that you begin to rise.